Self-realization is the goal, the destination of all spiritual practice. It's the recognition of the impersonal nature of reality. Consciousness, life, and experience is a manifestation, a creation that arises, that is experienced within the self. This self has no form, no identity. It does not exist. It will not die or be born. And in this, there's a tremendous freedom. Freedom from the identification with what is happening in your experience. And what is happening in your experience, your humanity, your life, does not go away. This impersonal reality does not destroy your human reality. It will always exist. No matter how realized you are, you will still be a human being. The freedom of this impersonal reality works perfectly with the human reality. And this video is really designed for those who are seeking self-realization or who engage in spiritual practice, designed to help them see and feel, to experience how their human life and their spiritual practice fit together. And as I focus on in my work, how I believe it's actually of a tremendous benefit to take on, to engage with both facets of life. And facets of life is a great way to describe this. How can these two facets of life coexist? Well, my logo is the Rubens vase. And the Rubens vase is a great example of this. You could think about our human life as looking at this image and seeing two faces. And the transcendent or the impersonal nature of reality, you can imagine as looking at the vase. It's a shift in focus that allows us to see one reality or the other. So you shift for one moment, you see two faces, and the next moment you see a vase. Which is true? Which is the real one? Well, ultimately, they're not in conflict with each other. Both images exist. Both of them are facets of perception, and both are real and part of the image. The image is whole. It is beyond either one of the descriptions or facets. And as it is with life, we have the nature of reality as an impersonal experience, and we have the deeply personal experience of being and caring and longing. So we're going to look at both of these facets separately for a little bit. We're going to begin with the impersonal nature of reality. The way this is realized is through a shift in focus. And we're going to do some of that now. I want you to shift our focus from what you are experiencing to the fact that you are having an experience. Right now, you are having an experience. And I want to point out two things. One, you don't have a choice whether you have an experience or not. As a human being, it takes no will, effort, or choice for there to be an experience. The creation of this experience, the existence of your experience, comes from a higher order. It was created by something beyond your human will. Can't get rid of it. Can't make it happen. Can't make it stop happening. And also, the second thing I invite you to notice is that your experience is vast. So a simple way of just orienting to this is, how big is your awareness? I want you to just look and see, how big is your experience of being aware? And as we relax our focus into the experience of aware, you may notice that it's hard to find a boundary to it. It's vast, a vast open space. Not only is experience choiceless, but it's also bigger than your human body and experience. spiritual practice is about, self-realization is about learning to shift our focus, to relax into the larger experience, and to contemplate, to be with the qualities of experience that exist beyond the personal. And we just see how it feels to do this now. Ultimately, this relaxation takes us to the self, the origin, the source of our experience. Isn't it amazing that there's an experience at all? Where does it come from? That's where we're going. The place that our experience comes from, the source. Now, at the same time, we have this deeply personal human experience. We shift our focus again. You see that you are hot or cold, that you're hungry, that you have thoughts and feelings, that you care about things. You have to show up for life. You have to be committed. You suffer when things don't go the way you want or need them to go. This is true too. And the counterpart to self-realization is a sort of very deeply personal self-awareness or self-honesty. It's the engaging in the human experience and the constant curiosity, what is happening for me now? We need this really to function. When a waiter at a restaurant asks you, what would you like? You need this self-honesty, personal awareness to know the answer. You need it when you work, when you relate to your children or your spouses, your partners, your friends. We're constantly drawing upon this participatory capacity to know what's happening for myself and to act on it, to express it, and conversely, to do so with others, to be in relationship. And the skill set, the really important quality of this is the ability to bring our attention to our thoughts, feelings, and sensations and relate to them, to experience ourselves clearly and honestly. And just as much as the relaxation of focus can be a spiritual practice, I believe that the discovery of the personal sense is also a spiritual practice. And we just do this right now. I learn, I practice, I shift my focus to my body, and I stay connected to what is happening now, and I keep looking for the next thing that I notice. I keep refining my curiosity and attention and diving deeper into the experience of being me. And due to the nature of reality, this process of paying attention to myself will put me into contact with things that I'm unconscious with. Trauma is the hiding, the distancing, the freezing of energy and content from my conscious experience. So, because the nature of the world is traumatized, all of us are sitting on a depth of experience, a depth of human experience, which we are not in contact with. So this process of self-honesty is progressively revelatory, meaning the more that I pay attention to myself, the more that I listen to me as a human being, the more me I discover. The more me I discover and stay connected to, the more energy I have. The fuller my intelligence and expression becomes. And I believe this is the way to manifesting our full potential. For me, human potential is all about the fullest human experience working together, integrated, and expressing itself as a whole human. The fullest, most alive expression of myself translates as the most highest potential, most fulfilling human experience. So I believe we need a practice to constantly be gaining, to restoring, recovering, and integrating this energy that is hidden or that we are unconscious to. So again, the skill here is that I learn to be deeply present to what is happening in my body. And I just keep sinking and staying curious about what more there is to me. So these two skills of being honest and curious about myself as a human being, and also the impersonal relaxation, they fit together perfectly. They are a perfect match. And I would express it like this. I would describe it like this. The more I am able to relax, the more I can be with what is happening in my body. And the more that I can be with what is happening in my body, the softer my body becomes and the easier it is to relax. So for spiritual seekers, it's often taught or considered that our practice is one focused. We just stay relaxing and we kind of let the energy move on its own and we don't interfere with it. But I believe for most people, it's very advantageous, especially in this contemporary reality, this time that we're in, to learn to turn my attention towards the body, to find things that I can relax into. So I use my participation in life to find the things in myself that I need to relax into. This means that when I'm in a relationship and I'm triggered, I learn to relate to the energy that I'm triggered with. I work through the content that is arising in me, and ultimately I have more energy. And this supports my spiritual practices. It supports me to, or my seeking of self-realization practices. The more energy that's freed up in me, the easier it becomes to relax into experience. And conversely, if I am seeking participation in life, I learn to relax into the flow of energy, the effortless, impersonal flow of energy. The becoming that I'm seeking for myself is in perfect alignment with the nature of reality, which is a movement. This creation, this impersonal expression, is inherently moving to fulfill itself. And so I relax into that flow and allow it to move me. I allow it to move my personal experience, which means that I can take the effort and the contracted striving out of my becoming process, and I can bring more openness and more naturalness to becoming. I can allow my personal being to become a wave of consciousness, to become a part of the flow of life, rather than a separate personal effort. So again, I describe how these two aspects of life are mutually beneficial. But even more than that, I also, as I close, want to describe how this is the joy of life. We get two things at the same time. This is the outcome or the promise of spiritual practice. I get to be free. I get to know the nature of reality, to know that no matter what happens, I'm okay. And at the same time, I get to be deeply invested in the process. I get to be deeply invested into what happens and my personal becoming, the becoming of my family and friends and of my world. I get to go through a process that really means something to me. The impersonal realization will never take away the meaning of the personal experience, nor will it dilute the becoming process. These two aspects of life fit together perfectly. And we all know what this is like. We all know the joy of this dual experience, not even as a conscious experience or an experience of awakening. We all know this is because this is what movies and television and books are. All entertainment of this form or play, all of this is this dual reality. As a moviegoer, when you watch The Matrix, you get to live as Neo frees himself from the Matrix and takes these tremendous risks, heroic risks, and is under great stress and strain and is deeply invested in the process. And you become that. You live through that. And at the same time, everything's okay. It's just a movie. You are fine. You are beyond the story. And this is the joy of movies, is the pairing of deeply meaningful processes and safety and freedom that transcends the story itself. Lucky for us, all of us, this is what life is. This is the nature of reality. We are so free and safe and well that we have created this tremendously perilous and fraught and exciting and beautiful and joyous and relational experience called life. And it's not something to get out of. It's something that we've gotten into. And self-realization helps us to enjoy this because we see it clearly. So again, I just invite you to contemplate that your life as a human being and or your path as a spiritual being, they're mutually beneficial. Integral practice, or the taking on of both of these realities, is ultimately most productive and deeply satisfying.